For Victims and Villains, my name is Josh, and today we are getting royal as we talk about the movie Saltburn. Saltburn is Emerald Fennell's follow-up to Promising Young Woman, and it explores the relationship between Oliver Quick, who befriends basically a high-class friend from school and moves in with him from the summer, and just a laundry list of chaos is created in the making of that friendship. Promising Young Woman is not only one of the most important films that we've seen in the 2020s, but it's also one of my favorite personal films of the last decade, maybe even 2 decades. I adore that film and really kind of put Emerald Fennell's name on my registry, and I was really excited for this film. And I think what I walked away from this film is that it feels bigger and it shows a completely different side to her capabilities, not only as a storyteller, but also a director that I feel like you didn't get to see in Promising Young Woman. Promising Young Woman has a very intimate feel to it. There's a lot of muted colors. There is bright, a lot of it is muted because of the subject matter. And then you get into Saltburn, and Saltburn is this very wide, larger than life, very theatrical story that at its core still retains that intimacy, but it feels like it's done on a much larger, much grander scale. And I just love the chance to get to see Fennell as a storyteller really grow in talent, and just to kind of get to see the different shades that stories that she has to tell. This movie, I don't want to give it away because I feel like if I give it away what this movie reminded me of, it gives away the twist at the end. But I will say, thematically and even visually, this movie kind of gave me vibes of Damien Chazelle's Babylon from last year. It's very big and it's very brash, but it's also very character driven. That's something that I really liked about this movie. I think every performances across the board, this movie is phenomenal. Barry Keoghan in this movie is just an absolute tour de force. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if his name got brought up in the conversations for Oscars now that we're in that season. There's a boldness and a level of vulnerability that he does and walks at this razor sharp edge that is probably one of my favorite performances of any actor in 2023. This is a really daring performance, and I think on top of that, there are elements of this performance where he just absolutely gets under your skin. And then there are moments in this movie where you can't help but just weep with him as the audience. And then there are moments where you laugh with him as the audience. And I thought that there's such a range that he brings to this role that not only makes him feel three-dimensional, but also at the same time, it just gives a really dynamite performance and brings a lot of levity to this role. Jacob Elordi plays Oliver Quick's playboy billionaire friend. I don't know what the technical term would be, but this is the wealthy gentleman that he befriends early on in the movie. How I loved, honestly, their dynamic throughout the course of this. Like, Keoghan and Elordi, like, they have really great chemistry together, and it feels like genuine because there is a moment in the movie where there is strife, and the strife just kind of feels like a natural extension. Like, if you've ever been in a long friendship with someone, like if you have someone that you consider your best friend, surely there have been times where you guys have fought or disagreed, and became a heated discussion. And it's just a natural part of that friendship because it's a natural part of relationships. I thought that they captured that aspect really well as the chemistry, and the two just are just awesome together. kind of secondary overall to the plot, but Richard E. Grant and Rosamund Pike are also in this movie, and they also give outstanding performances. This movie is a slow burn, and sometimes slow burn, that payoff at the end kind of doesn't really make the burn worth it. Saltburn is 100% worth it in the end. Saltburn does this really amazing thing where it gives you fractured puzzle pieces of the film's final moments, but it doesn't actually show you the context. And I think that it's moments like that that kind of bring you out from the back of your seat to the edge of your seat. And I think, honestly, between Promising Young Woman and here at Saltburn, that's one thing that Fennell does really well as a storyteller, is that she gives you just enough to kind of draw you in and get invested into the characters. And with that investment, some of the moments that happen in this movie are more impactful because of that style of storytelling. And again, that's what makes Fennell probably one of the best storytellers we have making movies today. One of the things that I felt like kind of gets overlooked in the grand conversation of some of Fennell's previous work, whether it's Killing Eve or Promising Young Woman, is how she implements comedy. This movie, there are certainly, overall, for the most part, this is a drama, and I think it hits those dramatic parts really well. But I also think that the comedy is also worth bringing up, because when the comedic parts of Saltburn are present, almost every joke in this movie that is intended to be a joke landed for me. Now, comedy is subjective, and what lands for me may not land for other people, but I think overall what Fennell does here with comedy is really smart. It's really subtle, and it's really effective. And I think overall, when you have a film that's genre is 2/3 drama and one part a little bit psychological, I think comedy kind of comes as an unexpected surprise, and it's a really refreshing to kind of lift the spirits of some of the film's more heavier and uncomfortable moments. But I'm going to run this through the Rorschach rating scale before I end up spoiling this for myself. I'm going to go ahead and give Saltburn a 4 out of 5. I think this movie is a really well made across the board. The acting, the writing, the direction, the use of comedy, the use of drama, the twist at the end, how it tells its story, all of it across the board is really exceptionally done. It is a slow burn, so buckle up and enjoy the ride. If you guys have seen Saltburn, what did you guys think? Comment below and let me know. Now, this is normally the part of the video where I will talk about a theme of mental health from the film. And honestly, the one that stuck with me and imprinted itself onto me is a massive spoiler. So I will be doing a mental health moment when this movie is released on Blu-ray, talk about it again and revisit the subject of Saltburn and mental health. But if you were watching this video and you were someone you know is struggling with suicide, addiction, self-harm, or depression, please consider the resources in our mental health resource library, which you guys can find in the show notes below. Until next time, remember to have a happy Thanksgiving. Stay classy. Have a good one.